नवतंसकं विलासि लोकरक्षकं अनायकैकनायकं विलासिते बदैत्यकं नटाशुभाशुनाशकं नमामि तं विनायकं। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां। समस्तलोकशङ्करं निरस्तदैत्यकुञ्जरं दरे दरोदरं वरं वरे भक्तमक्षरं कृपाकरं क्षमाकरं मुदाकरं यशस्करं मनस्करं नमस्कृतां नमस्करोमि भास्वरं। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां। Thank you.
Very distinguished guests and friends, welcome you all for this second Dr.Y.S.Rajasekhara Reddy Memorial Lecture. I would request Vice Chancellor and Chairman, State Council of Higher Education, Professor Hemchandra Reddy, to give the welcome address.
President of today's program, Principal Advisor to the Government of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Ajay Kallamji, Honorable Chancellor of RGUKT, Professor K.C. Reddy Garu, and the distinguished scientist amidst us today, who has accepted to deliver today's lecture, Dr. Kota Harinarayana Garu, the two advisors for RGUKT, Professor V.N. Rao Garu, Professor Mohan Rao Garu, directors of the institution, of all four campuses, and we have yet another distinguished guest today here, Professor Ram Subbareddy Garu from IIT Madras, and Professor Balkrishnan, our governing council member, part of RGUKT, from IISc has come all the way today, and Swamiji here, Vimuktananda Puriji, who has come to bless all of us today. My dear faculty members and my dear students, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen, press and media, a very warm welcome to you all to this second edition of Dr. YSR Memorial Lecture. In fact, the credit goes to our Honorable Chancellor for initiating this memorial lecture last year, after 11 years of the demise of the legendary leader of Andhra Pradesh, Dr.Y.S.Rajasekhara Reddy Garu. And I will be failing in my duty if I fail to acknowledge Honorable MP, Shri Ayodhya Reddy Garu, who has instituted this memorial lecture at RGUKT. Thank you very much, sir. You have initiated a great process here. Friends, you are all aware RGUKT is a brainchild of Dr. Y.S.Rajasekhara Reddy garu, established in the year 2008. And the two principal people who made this possible with their ideas are Professor K.C. Reddy and Professor Raj Reddy. And courtesy all their thought process, courtesy all their sincere desire to build an institution, today we have 4 campuses hosting 25,000 students drawn from villages, particularly from the poor background. And, the very objective of RGUKT, all of you are aware, identifying the talent from the villages and then transform them into high-quality engineers by hosting them here for 6 years. And all of you are aware, it is completely a program sponsored by Government of Andhra Pradesh. Probably this is the one and only experiment of this kind, empowering the rural meritorious youth in the entire country, I should say. And I'm very glad I'm part of this very prestigious, much talked about organization as in charge Vice Chancellor. Friends, today I just informed you that Sri Raj Reddy garu, Professor Raj Reddy garu, was instrumental in formulating this ideology for RGUKT, gave the first YSR Memorial Lecture last year, and we all have witnessed a thought-provoking lecture from him and great ideas towards us to take and implement. And today we are ready to listen to Dr. Kota Harinarayana garu as part of the second series. And I must tell you, he is a mechanical engineering graduate at least a couple of years before I was born. And went on to do, from BHU, went on to do his PhD from the very prestigious institution of this country. Of course, I'm sure he will be introduced. His profile is just amazing. He is a technocrat, he is a scientist, he is a social worker, and whatnot, everything. And I'm really excited to listen to him today. Yesterday I was listening to him talking about his experiences. Being a technocrat and a scientist who could initiate that light combat vehicle mission of this country, was talking about agriculture yield and his contribution to improve that. So he is a living example. If you have a sincere desire, you can move to any area. Dr. Kota Harinarayana garu, thank you very much for accepting our invitation and agreeing to deliver this YSR Memorial Lecture. Without wasting much time, I extend a very warm welcome once again to all the guests, invitees, ladies and gentlemen, to this second edition. Thanking Honorable Chancellor for making this possible, and my special thanks are to Sri Ajay Kalamji for traveling all the way from Vijayawada to be part of this function. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Hemchandra Reddy garu. Before I request our is not a bureaucrat himself, is an academic bureaucrat. I would call Sri Ajay Kalam garu an academic bureaucrat. We see seldom bureaucrats becoming academics, and many a time academics becoming bureaucrats. And the later part is more dangerous. And I would personally feel that academics becoming bureaucrats is much more dangerous. Even if the bureaucrats do not become academics, there is no harm in that. Ajay garu has been a source of inspiration for all of us. And when I mentioned to him that Professor Kota is delivering the We call him Professor Kota only, and that's how affectionately we remember him. And particularly when I mentioned about agriculture, Ajay Garu has not only studied agriculture, he has done agriculture personally, and his career, I think, large part of his career was in the area of agriculture. Therefore, he said that I would love to listen to him. You not only listen to him, but you also chair the session. I am personally grateful to Ajay Garu. I think unfortunately, Vijayawada is not well connected these days with Kadapa, but still he took trouble to travel by train. And I think we are all fortunate to have him here with us today. I request him to deliver the presidential address. Over to Sri Ajay Kalangaru.
Respected Chancellor, Professor K.C. Reddy Garu, our chief guest, whom who needs no introduction, one of our eminent scientists, Dr. Kota Harinarayana Garu, Vice Chancellor, Professor Hemchandra Reddy Garu, distinguished guests, council members, faculty and students. I am fortunate today to be here, keenly to listen to Professor Harinarayana Garu. I think linking space technologies with agriculture, because as mentioned by Professor K.C. Reddy Garu, I am a student of agriculture. So that way I am too keen to listen to him. On this occasion, that's the birthday of one of our legendary leaders and chief ministers, Rajasekhara Reddy Garu. I think we need to recollect his contribution for a couple of minutes. Most of you probably might not have an idea how a good number of schemes, especially targeting farmers and rural people, have been introduced by him through a real understanding, a ground level understanding, and also practical, what I can say, scientific means. 1997, we had the largest number of suicides committed by the farming community because of the agricultural distress. There was an outbreak of pests in cotton especially, and those pesticides in those days, they did not work. A large number of farmers committed suicide. So there was an uproar. 97, he was not the chief minister. Chandrababu Naidu was the chief minister. There was a huge uproar saying that government failed in curbing adulterated pesticides and all. So, okay, lots of actions were taken. Okay, we could also bring some kind of a discipline in that industry. But meanwhile, we try to understand the reasons for such a large number of farmers committing suicide. What we understood from the analysis is something striking. Majority of the farmers, they really did not commit suicide because of a crop failure in that year, in that crop season. So when we looked at the background, a good number of them had significant debt against their families, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs those days, which is substantial. Whereas these people own hardly an acre or two. So the investment required for growing an acre of cotton those days was maybe 10,000, 15,000, whereas the accumulated debt was some 3 lakh rupees. I mean, across the table. So when we looked at why these people have accumulated such a huge debt, the reasons are striking. One, education has become very costly. Most of the farmers wanted to get their children study engineering or medicine or ABCD. The fees were really beyond their means. They could not afford. Health. If somebody goes to a 5-star hospital, what you call a corporate hospital, they used to spend something like a lakh or two. Whereas a farmer's income from an acre or two, profits or net income would be maybe 5,000, 10,000 rupees. How they can sustain? Third is, of course, our age-old traditions and all, marriages and various other kinds of, occasions when we spend a lot of amount of money. When, of course, why agriculture yields also are not consistent is again lack of irrigation facilities. Because very small extent in Andhra, barring a few districts in coastal Andhra, rest of the area did not have water. So when they go for bore wells, periodically they were failing. Every time they invest a lakh of rupees and the bore fails, maybe after a couple of years. So bore costs, electricity costs, everything again is burdening them further into debt. That is when, after understanding all this, then he thought something solidly needs to be done to the farming community, because it's very close to his heart. That's how he introduced the fees reimbursement, saying that every kid should go to a college of his choice. It's the government which reimburses the fees. He introduced RGUKT, saying that yes, we need to stand by the rural families when they have health issues. And then he gave free current. Most of us know that electricity is free to the farming community. Then he started Jalayagna, saying that something needs to be done, even if it takes a decade or two, to harness water resources and make available as much water as possible to the villages or to agricultural fields. That's how basically those things have got evolved, and he became close to the hearts of the people, and especially to the farming community. Even this institution, which was shaped by Professor Raj Reddy Garu and K.C. Reddy Garu, was basically that idea is driven by him only. Yes, education, one is okay, fees reimbursement and all. What others are ailing the education system? We all know that +2 was commercialized. In 90% of the countries, you don't see junior colleges or +2 as a separate institution or, separate educational system. You go to anywhere, right from southern hemisphere like Australia to America, 11th and 12th are a part of the schooling. I do not understand what thought those days made that particular policy, and +2 came, and +2 has become completely commercialized. Narayanas, Chaitanyas, everywhere coaching, costly coaching and things like that. So obviously, that is one particular phase of educational system which is not accessible, especially to the farmers' children and rural community. That's how probably he had requested Professor Raj Reddy Garu and K.C. Reddy Garu to work on it and to do something. And I am pretty sure RGUKT was the outcome of that thought process. Today, you can harness the talent in the rural areas without difficulty and bring into the system. Not only this, in fact, before handing over the mic to Professor Kota Garu, I will also add that anywhere in the world, people who are introduced to a professional knowledge or a professional path, whether it is science or technology, early have become better professionals. When I was studying in Australia, I was doing my MBA, I was shocked when I saw some of my colleagues are nurses turned doctors. If you go to Australia, you find a significant stream, something like 25-30% of the medical stream comes from the medical, what I can say, technologists like nurses, A&Ms, all those categories, who had spent a couple of years, maybe 3 years, 4 years, acquire those professional skills and hands-on experience, then enter the medical stream and become far better doctors than the so-called, direct entries without any experience, without any knowledge. You go to US, nobody gets a medical seat without going through a pre-medical stream. There is a 3-year pre-medicine which they normally attend to, and then after that they decide whether they need to attend to a medical stream or whatever it is. Like that, probably our polytechnic or ITI students who can become engineers, who can enter engineering stream, will become far better engineers than people who are directly entering. A polytechnic agriculture student will become a much better agriculture graduate than others. That's what I personally feel when I look at what is happening around the world. So that way, taking people early in 10th, 11th, giving them an exposure and orientation towards these latest technologies, and then continuing them, and later on giving them further hands-on experience is something really excellent, I feel, and I'm sure the results we could see in the last few years. So I thank the great, legendary, late Honorable Chief Minister for his vision, and Professor Rajiv Reddy garu, KC Reddy garu, who ensured that, that's realized. Thank you.
Professor Kota Harinarayana garu, it doesn't need any introduction, but then in a memorial lecture, it's our duty to introduce, particularly to some of our young student friends. I request our Director, Nujud Campus, Professor GVR Srinivas Rao, to introduce our guest, and then to Professor Kota garu.
President of today's meeting, the Chief Advisor to Government of AP, Sri Ajay Kalam Garu, Honorable Chancellor RGUKT, Professor KC Reddy Garu, Chairman APSHI and Honorable Vice Chancellor RGUKT, Professor K. Hemchandra Reddy Garu, Professor Balakrishnan Garu, Member Governing Council, Swami Vimuktananda Puri Garu, my fellow directors, distinguished guests, faculty members, and the student friends of RGUKT, the faculty and the student friends who are visualizing the live program at the remaining 3 campuses, the press and media. I feel I'm honored to introduce this august gathering, the most sought-after scientist and technocrat for the light combat aircraft technology in India, Dr. Kota Harinarayana garu. Born in the year 1943 in Berhampur, Orissa, to Sri Kota Saradi Chaudhary and Srimati Kota Mucham Chaudhary, Dr. Kota Harinarayana garu inherited the noble qualities of his parents. Having had early education at Berhampur, Orissa, he was graduated from Banaras Hindu University in mechanical engineering in the year 1965. He did his post-graduation in aero engineering at IISc Bangalore in 1967. Later, he took his PhD from IIT Bombay. Later, in due course of his career, he took another bachelor degree in law. He started his career in 1967 at Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. He moved to DRDO headquarters in the year 1917. He rejoined in HAL in the year 1982 as chief designer in Nasik division. He was deputed to DRDO in 1985 and assumed charge as director ADE Bangalore. He was appointed as LCA Program Director in December 1985. During 1995, he was elevated as Distinguished Scientist by DRDO. As Program Director and Chief Designer of Light Combat Aircraft, he successfully directed the project leading to flight testing and clearance for limited series production. Thanks to his effort, India succeeded in developing a state-of-the-art high-technology fighter aircraft of world class. He was widely honored. He received Padma Sri in 2002 and was a Fellow of Aeronautical Society of India, National Academy of Sciences, Indian National Academy of Engineering, and he was a Distinguished Alumnus Award from Indian Institute of Science and IIT Bombay. And few more awards, to name a few more awards, he got National Aeronautics Prize in 1996, FIE Foundation Award in 1996, Pregna Puraskar in 2001, Dr. Y. Naidamma Memorial Award in 2001, DRDO Technology Leadership Award in 2001, Gujarmal Modi Science Foundation Award in 2006, Lifetime Contribution Award in Engineering, Indian National Academy of Engineering 2006. Also, he had Lokmanya Tilak Puraskar in 2011 and Aryabhatta Award in 2014 from Astronautical Society of India. He received honorary doctorates from Berhampur University, Acharya Nagarjuna University, SYI Bhubaneswar, and Ravenshaw University, Cuttack. His academic acumen was embellished with his administrative achievements. To name a few, he served as Vice Chancellor of University of Hyderabad till 15 July 2005. He served as a Chairman of Research Councils of CISO Chandigarh, the Chairman of Center for Wind Energy Technology, and as a Director, Mithani. He was a Distinguished Visiting Professor at IIT Bombay and Pratt and Whitney Chair Professor at the University of Hyderabad, member of UGC Empowered Committee on Basic Research in Science, Dr. D.S. Kothari DRDO Chair at ADA Bangalore, Chairman Board of Governors IIT DM Jabalpur, and INAE Satish Javan Chair Professor at CSIR-NAL. Presently, he is serving as SERB Distinguished Fellow, Honorary Advisor at CSIR-NAL, and as a Chairman General Aeronautics Private Limited. Sir, I now present Dr. Kota Harinarayana Garu to the August Guard. Thank you, sir.
వచ్చేసారా ఇప్పుడు వద్దు ఒక 2 minutes. Along with the people, the chair also to be moved. Yeah. So, can I start, madam? Is it okay? You have to give this. You have a color mic or you don't have? Any stuff? Good morning to you all. How are you? Good. Nice to. Swami Vimuktanand Puri, Sri Ajay Kalam Garu, Professor K.C. Reddy, Professor Balakrishnan, very happy to see him. And we are the guests of Professor Sanjay Narani Garu and all the directors of this wonderful institution. The Vice Chancellor Hemachandra Reddy Garu is right here. Very happy to see you, sir. And happy to see all the faculty and lots of students. I'm visiting this after quite some time later. When I came first here, I think the foundation was being made. And thanks to efforts of Professor K.C. Reddy, Professor Raj Reddy, Professor Balakrishnan and all. It has come to a good shape. Very happy to be here. When Professor K.C. Reddy garu has asked me to give a talk, so I was wondering what should I talk. Then I thought, Y.S. Rajasekhara Reddy garu, Y.S. Rajasekhara Reddy, a passionate man, very passionate about agriculture and also passionate about technology. So I was feeling that, are you able to hear me? Good, good. I was thinking, what is the topic I should talk to you? Because IIIT must play a major role in Andhra Pradesh, new Andhra Pradesh. The new Andhra Pradesh is essentially an agrarian society. I think just now, Ajay Kalamgar was telling me, almost 37% of the GDP is agriculture. And I think you need to play a critical role in revolutionizing the agriculture. And today, there is a great opportunity. My talk is on that. Okay? This is why I thought I will talk to you. And let me go ahead. Just a minute. So that is, I just slightly changed the direction. I talk about agriculture, aviation, and AI. I think the director, Sandra, you are an AI person. Am I right, madam? Okay. Good. I'm good with that. So I thought before I start, I want to tell you one interaction, because interaction as regards RGUKT, you all know. I was Vice Chancellor at the University of Hyderabad to the end of 2002. And in 2003, I was just thinking, why Hyderabad is not becoming a major center for aviation? That was my idea. So I just gave a talk, a presentation to the then Chief Minister, Chandrababu Naidu, at that time. And I told him how Hyderabad can be transformed into a major center for aviation. I think sometime in, I gave a talk, but anyhow, I think they were all busy with elections and all. Then Y.S. Rajasekhara Reddy then took over as the new Chief Minister. And I had a industrial colleague called Lakshminarayan Reddy. Okay? He came to visit me. I told him, I think we need to talk to the Chief Minister and tell him how Hyderabad is ready to become a major center for aviation. So I gave a talk. He arranged that. I gave a talk. And I waited for 3 months. But nothing is happening. So I again told him, in this way we can't move forward. Then he again organized. And then I told him, he has to have a person who will be responsible for implementation. Please tell Chief Minister beforehand. And that person should attend the talk. So he did that. So I went there, I gave a talk, then I'm happy to know the person, Acharya, is also a batchmate of Ajay Kalam. Just now I came to know. So he called that person and we gave a presentation, we gave a blueprint. What I'm happy to tell you, Y.S. Rajasekhara Reddy took a decision that we will establish India's first aviation park. And that park was established within a few months. It was the first park in the whole of India. Okay? The Adibatla. And that has become a major aviation center. And today, it was the Tatas were the first major people who came. Then Boeing came, Lockheed came, so many people came. Okay? And now, in private sector, the first company in private sector in India to manufacture an aircraft and flight test will be Tata Advanced Systems Limited. So, it is Rajasekhara Reddy's vision, will, determination and decision making that made what you call Adibatla a major, he initiated Adibatla, got it done, and it became a prosperous place. So, that is what I always remember, that how a passionate Chief Minister who could take decisions and ensure that it is implemented is what is required. Okay? We are very grateful to him and very thankful to K.C. Reddy garu for inviting me to give this talk on this occasion. So let me now go back to my topic. I want to see overview of Indian agriculture. 17% about 4 or 5 years back, and today I understand agriculture's contribution to GDP contribution to GDP is 15%. It is came down. It is 15% only. But 50% of India's workforce is employed for agriculture. 22% of electricity consumption is by and peak it will go to 29%. 80% of the groundwater is consumed by agriculture. This is the scenario. Okay? So the contribution of agriculture GDP has coming down. It's not increasing. There's a thing to worry about. Let us see the Indian agriculture productivity. And I'm not comparing with Israel, I'm not comparing with the USA and all. Comparing with China. You can see that. I talked about soya bean, sugar, maize, rice. Very common products. You will see one is the crop yield, another is water use efficiency. You can see how in soya bean we may be all right. Not too all right, but the sugar, you see maize, you see rice, and you see the water consumption. Extraordinary amount of water we are consuming. But what is the productivity? Very low. Extremely low. Compared to China. If you compare it to Israel and all, we will be somewhere else. So that is the poor state of what you call our productivity of agriculture. So this is something we need to worry about. What are the existing farm practices? Are very traditional still, whatever we may talk, and not significant change over time. And we still depend on good old methods. The ecosystem that a present farmer is exposed to is not favorable either. Availability of information, quality inputs like water, fertilizer, soil is often absent or inaccurate. I want to say it is inaccurate. The result is virtually blind use of input resources, very poor understanding the impact on the crop yield. It should be noted, predicting weather in a tropical country, India, is very tough. If somebody is sitting somewhere is going to do a prediction, it is very tough. It's not possible because it's extremely difficult. And that too now with climate change, it is almost impossible. There used to be a known, is a fact, it's not a joke. Very long back, maybe about 70, 80 years back, in USA, there was an amateur weather prediction person. I understand 80% the time he was correct. And 20% time he was wrong. But the official fellow was 20% correct. The government requested him, why don't you come so that we will be more accurate? So he refused. He never took that. After retired and all, people asked him, the government is giving you all the facilities and all, why you are not? He said, no, I have to tell you a joke, a true story. He says, I have a friend in the weather department. Whatever, in the previous night he will tell me what is his prediction. I will tell opposite of that. So if I take the job, how do I do? Because the actual prediction is 20%, so I tell opposite. I am 80% correct. So that was the accuracy of weather prediction. Okay? Things have improved, we are much better, but still for a tropical country, it is still a problem. So even forecasting over 100 accuracy is a problem by this, what you call global prediction. So I have to think of something different. I just want this slide, roughly about 10, 12 years back, to recent about 2, 3 years back, what is the groundwater level? Because you know, agriculture is very much dependent on groundwater now. Okay? I want to show you state of Andhra Pradesh. Our groundwater level has gone down in the last 10 years by 67%. In a state like Punjab and it gone down by 90%. In a state like, Karnataka, 41%, some much higher. You could see that our groundwater level is coming down. And most inefficiently we are using our water. So how do you handle our future if we don't have water? How do you produce? If you follow the same old methods, will you succeed? That is what my worry is. So what is the issues? Scarcity of water, low crop yield, inadequate crop quality, excess application, water, fertilizer, pesticide, whatever you say, rapid change in weather and environment, and farmers' indebtedness. However much you are doing, still farmer is indebted. This is a fact. Let's look at the world scenario. Rising population from 1980 to 2000, they are exhibiting something like 10 billion. Growing middle class, you can see from 2 billion to 4.9 world. rising food consumption, declining arable land. Less land, less thing, more people. It's a scenario is rather frightening. It's rather frightening. Okay? So unless something is done, we'll be really in a bad shape. So what is the answer? The answer is precision agriculture. It increasing the productivity, enhancing the income of small farmer, ensuring sustainable are vital in a country like India, and more so in a state like New Andhra Pradesh. I think so. You can achieve it with the emerging technology in sector to maximize production. I do believe it is possible. Okay? It prepares, what does it do? It prepares the land for farming, ensures equally fertile vegetation across the field, monitors plantation during in-season growth, detects early answer pests and diseases. It also applies farming in right amount, at right time, at right location to harvest and post-harvest processes. What does it do? It does remote sensing, use of geographical information system, global positioning system, image processing to determine soil nutrient composition, detection of pests, application of farm inputs, all these things it is able to do. So, consumes less water, less inputs, and more output. And that is what we need to bring in. And that is what I think an organizational IT is well positioned to do that. Let me go a little further. To give a formal definition, I'm talking to an academic institution, so I must tell a formal definition. Precision agriculture can be defined as the application of modern information technologies to provide, process, analyze multi-source data of high spatial and temporal resolution for decision making and operations in management of crop production. This is the definition. First initiated in 1997, still the valid definition, as I can see that. How a precision agriculture? It relies upon special equipment, software and IT services, and IT is for that. And it does predictive analytics. And it uses satellite, robotic and drones. This is what is important. And there is a revolution that occurred in drone technology. Okay? That is what this combination which is going to help us. Okay? This is what I want to mention to you. What is it? Because in India, our average farms may be about 2 to 3 acres for a farmer, not much. Very few. If you go to USA, 10,000 acres is a farmer has it. But here we have only 3 acres, 4 acres, 5 acres, that's all. So any solution we are talking about, what was valid for them with 1,000 acres, if he has 1,000 acres, they will consider him as a small farmer. Here we are in a different story. So we have to see a technology which can be applicable to a group of farmers or a small farmer. That is what is the technology, what we are looking at. What are the tools for precision agriculture? One is precision agricultural aviation. That is aviation coming into picture. For remote sensing, primarily we use aviation for remote. Also for pesticide. Artificial intelligence for data analysis and interpretation. This is very important. Yeah, I may take thousands of pictures, but I must have the ability to analyze the data. And when combined together, are proving to be major tools for precision agriculture. These are the two things. Imaging and analysis. Okay. Very, what you call, good analysis, fast analysis, real-time analysis, that is what. And today, with AI technologies we can do, with the drones we are able to do that. I think that is the combination which is going to do that. What are the remote sensing? Agriculture aviation means what? Olden days, long back. When I say olden, I'm an old man, so 60, 70 years is old. Okay. So satellite based. This has been going on for a long time. All the governments, everybody was using. The problem with satellites is the processes are slow, suitable for overall, but not useful to a small farmer. Other thing is, satellite data will come. It will take 15 days from ISRO to come to the agricultural university. They will take another 50 days to there. In 1 month, if there is a disease, it would have spent so much. It is only good to know how much is the insurance money to be paid. It is of no use to the farmer. It has never helped the farmer at all. So that was the problem after. Though we are getting good images and all. Next came aircraft based. Satellite is stationary somewhere there and all, but aircraft could be used. But the problem with aircraft is expensive. To make an aircraft ready to do what you call survey or to put pesticides is extremely costly. It's not easy to do that one. So it could be done for a big farmers in USA or somewhere, but not so in a country like India. So it has never become popular. So that was the problem. Otherwise, it is okay, but extremely expensive. And how do a group of farmers or anybody can ask for an aircraft? It's not easy. Okay, only government can do that, but not otherwise. Come to UAV or drone, what we call it. UAVs offer one of the simple construction. They are very simple. I will give you some examples. Low cost operation and maintenance, a compact, lightweight footprint, simple to operate, high flexibility as a remote sensing. UAVs are ideally suited for small farmers prevalent in India. But then UAVs were, the technology of UAVs became popular, became simple and straightforward only last 10-15 years. Okay, now I think we are in a position to do that. So other thing is, we have found there is a incipient disease that formed. How do you do? If you do hand throwing and all, you are, one is the man doesn't know where to put and all, but you can use UA for aerial spraying. Aerial spraying today technology is such that you have a geographical vertical fencing, exactly where it should be put, how much should be put. We have a variable vertical nozzles, and you put only that much and nowhere else. All that can be done today by a drone. Okay? And as a result, you only put that much what is required, only that place where is required and nowhere else. So 90% of the pesticide is saved. And based on the condition of the moisture and all, you only put that much water. 90% water is saved. So pesticide, water, everything, your input has come down and the productivity will improve. That is the benefit what you have there. Okay? And you can do the spraying. So an eye in the sky for the drone revolution, I saw this heading, I thought drones and agriculture, a match made in heaven. I think when they come together, I think something wonderful is happening. It's wonderful is happening, really. So let's see what this is. Say, an aircraft is a very complex fellow. But interestingly, these drones, what I'm talking, these are called multicopters. Okay? Very simple. Easy to build, easy to operate, easy to maintain. Okay? So that is what is the beauty which is coming now. Okay? See, you can do vertical takeoff and landing, these multicopters. Okay? Multicopters, multiple, you can see there, motors are there, propellers are there. That's all. Okay? That's all. And fly slow and hover. You can make it hover around. And low speed and endurance. Okay? Endurance is low, but if you want to cover 5 acres of land, I don't have to fly for 5 hours. If I fly for half an hour, it is good enough. Okay? That is what it is. Let's look a little more about this fellow. There are other type called fixed wing. They are high speed endurance, cannot fly, cannot take off. But we don't need them. For our agriculture, we don't need. Okay? These are required for other upset. Okay? But they are quite good. Then there is a hybrid. Suppose you want to cover something like 2 to 3 hours of operation. You have a hybrid fellow who takes off vertically, does all that, and lands vertically. These are all called hybrid. All of them are available. Okay? The drones are many. Right from, I just want to show you something on my fingertip to an aircraft like F-16, okay, today an LCA, can be converted into a drone. There's no problem. It's a huge aircraft. So that is the variety. But our interest is these multicopters. That is ideally suited for agricultural operation. So what are the components of a drone? Because it's all engineering institution, I thought I must show you. It has a frame, a motor, a speed controller, a propeller. This is one set. Okay. Another, it has a flight controller, radio transmitter, radio receiver, and a battery. Okay. It has a telemetry module, a camera, video transmitter, video receiver. Just. And you have a, what you call, a ground station, where all the data that is coming from the drone is, you look at it, you see that, you want to rectify or you want to change the speed, you want to do, all that can be done. Very, like a laptop is all what is required for doing a ground control. And you have sensors, okay, accelerometer, gyroscope, compass, GPS, power modules. You have sensors, optical avoidance, few, depending upon the use you can do. But most of the agricultural drones, you don't know all this hi-fi stuff. But you need control algorithm. And triple IT, all of you must be taught about controls. Am I right, madam? You will be teaching them. Okay. So proportional integration control, inertial navigation, Kalman filtering. This must be like your fingertips, all of these things. These are all standard things. But that's all what is required for a drone to operate. Okay? And different types of controller, how to stabilize, how to altitude can be held, attitude can be held, all this kind of thing. Today, most of these things are available in open source. It is all available in open source, not not too difficult. So you can do all modes, autonomous, loiter, you can, man on the ground can control, or it can do autonomous. All these things can be done. Something very, very interesting and all that, okay? And a lot of safety features, because you have had now two-wheelers are having fire and all. So in the aircraft, we build safety features whereby the battery, you don't hear too much that fire in the drones, fire in the aircraft, because a lot of safety features are built into it. Okay, if there is any indication, we have what you call a health monitoring system. As a result, you know what is happening, aircraft will come back. If there is any problem, it is programmed such that it will come back to the place from where it took off. So all those things, redundant sensor, pre and flight checks, battery safe, radio safe, GPS safe, geofence, all those things are built and it are developed. And quite a bit of them are open source available. You have to tune it to suit your requirement. This is what we can do. So it is a fantastic technology which is available, and we have, and you can also start as a hobby drone. Then you can go to military, you can go to commercial. In the military, we can go to agriculture. That's what we are talking about. But wide varieties of applications are there. So in agriculture, crop health analysis, this is very important. Quite often, by the time the farmer gets to know that there is a, what you call a pest, it's already too late. It's already too late. Okay? Can I know before it actually happens? If he comes to know even 4 days before, he can take action. But that is what is important. Okay? Estimation of nutrition, water level, pests and diseases, height, count, acreage, yield, and how much fertilizer, how much pesticide, what is the soil and all these things we can use the drones. And that is the beauty. And an aircraft like LCA will cost about 400 crores, one aircraft. Okay? It is considered to be a cheap aircraft. Okay? What the Indian government is buying from Rafale and all, it costs about 1,000 crores. Okay? Okay, 1,000. One aircraft costs 1,000 crores. Where an LCA costs 300 to 400 crores. A cheap aircraft costs. Where this fellow, we can finish it in about 10 lakhs. And even for reconnaissance, I can do in 2 lakhs. That's all. Okay? That is what we are talking about. And you can see what all things you can do. So what happens, after you discuss, we have a sensors and all, we'll discuss. Then you find there is a pest. We can use a spraying drone and that can spray. And spray exactly where it is required. So drone can take off flying at low altitude. It can fly about 10 meters, 20 meters, 5 meters. It can fly safely, no problem. Okay? And to see, talking is easy. So we started a company in Indian Institute of Science, Professor Balkrishnan's place. We started a company. I thought I joined somebody who is 1/3 my age. We started. And that company is called General Aeronautics. And about 2 years back, I came out because they are doing well. I don't, old men should not continue. So I came out and they are doing extremely well. They have developed agricultural drones. And today there is a huge demand. There is a queue for something like 1,000 drones for the company. Okay, it started in an academic institution. Okay, and so academic institutions are ideal places for doing that. This is what agricultural drone looks like. This is what that by General Aeronautics. But there are other companies in India who are also developed the agricultural drones. Okay, so this is what it is, a hexacopter. And they initially see a lot of work you have to do to develop the what you call algorithms. Okay, that is what we need to do. That is where a IIIT can play an important role. Okay, so this is where what you call a Central Plantation Crop Research Institute. There is a 100-year-old institution. They work very closely, and palm trees, their about quite high. It can go at half the height. You can spray, you can do from top, bottom, all that can be done. That's what they conducted. In fact, I'm grateful to the chairman of the coffee board. He gave a project of 50 lakhs so that all this job could be developed. Okay? Sometimes government support becomes so crucial for these kind of things. They have done that. We conducted at a PAU, an institute, again an agriculture institute, on paddy fields that has been done. And they have again conducted, again ICAR and they worked very, very closely. So no major drift was observed, uniform drop distribution, and going to a detailed evaluation. And this work has been completed now. And they work very closely with some of the pesticide companies and ICAR. I think you said you are a student of ICAR. I'm very happy to see the student here. Very closely, because you have to work with a good agricultural technology people. That's important. That's important. So there is you need a smaller drone to do imaging. Even an ordinary camera, what you call RGB camera, with a near-infrared camera. See, a hyperspectral camera will cost you 50-60 lakhs. Okay, a multispectral camera will cost you 10 to 15 lakhs. But this camera will cost you less than a lakh. It may be 50,000 rupees. And there is a company in Bangalore who will supply you. He makes exactly the RGB with NIR. You can get it. Okay? And that it will need, it's about 40 minutes of endurance. It's more than sufficient for us to do that. Okay? And it does within 10 minutes you can assemble, do and take off. It doesn't need a big farm or anything that. In this room it can get ready. Okay? That's what is the benefit of this. So you can see early crop health. One of the most important problem is how to detect what you call any pest, any disease and very early. Okay? This is a very important thing. And this camera, RGB plus NIR, does that job. Okay? That is what. And now the deep learning algorithms, even an ordinary RGB camera, it can find out much in detail. You don't need a hyperspectral camera. That is the beauty of this one. You can see that, what all things it can do. So there was about 2-3 years back, there was a study done in Sri Lanka, not today, but Sri Lanka is in deep trouble now. Okay? And what is interesting, I want to tell you is, there is a International Water Management Institute, trials were done, and the trials showed how a near-infrared can give early warning of problem anywhere in the field. It was observed that drone with NIR camera could identify in a plant 10 days before it becomes visible to the eye. This is the most important point. 10 days before. Our eye cannot detect, but it can do. When plant goes into stress due to water or fertilizer or because it's being attacked by a pest, photosynthetic activity decreases and that affects the chlorophyll. That is what NIR can detect, but human eye cannot see until it is more advanced. 10 days warning could prevent a large scale. I think you will agree, 10 days warning is good enough to save the crop. That is what is required. And that is what has been tried, and beautiful results have come. I don't have time to show all those results, but it is beautiful. So what is it that it is doing? It is doing actionable insights delivered to farmers and handhelds. Your mobiles are too powerful today. All data can come. Okay? And multispectral data for crop healthing without using a multispectral camera but an RGB and NIR camera. Okay? It reduces water and fertilizer, reduces pollution, increases farm income. All the things can be done. Okay? This is what it means. Now, with all that I am talking about agriculture and all, what is the key? Key is image processing. Key is image processing. Image processing is as important in area. Always it has been an important area. But traditionally what we were doing, okay, we had what you call a department in University of Hyderabad when I was there. And that was, I'm talking about 2002, 3, 4 and all. There were not many students. It was not popular in those days, okay? But today, of course, different. Image pre-processing, image segmentation, feature extraction, image class, all manual, semi-manual is being done. Very cumbersome, time-consuming, and cost is very high. Very, very high. Okay? That was the problem, okay? So it was not so popular. But with the advent of AI, and especially I will talk about the newly developed technology, delivers this information using RGB camera, a standard axis drone. The drone flies about 20 meters, it can even go lower, captures image of section every 2 seconds, is then processed offline, modeled into useful information through deep learning, all without the additional cost of X, even a multispectral, forget about hyperspectral camera, all that can be done. And that is where this image processing, the new deep learning technology becomes extremely useful. Now, let's go through. I know all of you may be aware, but I think it's worth knowing a little bit. AI typically has the ability of a machine to perform cognitive function, who has a human mind, perceiving, reasoning, learning, and problem solving. That is what a human being is supposed to do. Instead of solving problem, he also creates problem. That is a different story, but that is what it is. And machine learning, what is the difference? It's a part, it's a AI only. This is what it does. AI has been achieved by applying machine learning to a lot. What it does, it's important. It detects patterns and learns how to make predictions and recommendation processing data experience rather than receiving explicit program instructions. Olden things were all instructions are clearly given. Here, by pattern, it is able to do that. And that is what machine learning makes it wonderful. The algorithms adapt, that is important. The algorithms adapt in response to new data and experience to improve efficacy over time. As more and more it gains, more and more accurate it comes. It starts maybe with 90%, it can reach 97, 98%. Very good. That's what it does. Okay? So there are three types of machine learning. One is the supervised machine learning, another is unsupervised machine learning, and another is the reinforcement. In supervised learning, you give some input, you also tell what the output should be. Whereas in reinforced learning, you give an input. If it gives a correct result, you give him some credit. If it gives a wrong result, you give a discount. So it learns from that one, okay? Reinforcement. When good things are happening or correct are there, you go on. So the algorithm goes on improving. Whereas in unsupervised learning, you give a lot of data, massive data is required. And from the pattern, because of data, training material, a lot of training data is required. With that, what happens? It can find out what are the patterns. Nobody tells what it finds itself. And with more data, more info, it comes to a stage where it gives extremely good results. Very, very accurate. That is where the deep learning becomes so important and more so in agriculture. Okay? This is what it does. So, as I said, machine learning quite popular. It has two means. The DL has now needs large data for training, which can be generated using drones and UAVs. It may be difficult in other areas, but in agriculture, I can generate lot of data. For that, there is a technology called phenomics. I'm going to talk about it. Okay? If you do that, cheap drones, cheap sensors, I can generate huge data. I need good people who know how to do image processing. And today, thanks to people like Balakrishnan, massive computing facilities are available. Okay? Let's see that. Deep learning is a type of machine learning that can process wide range of, wide range of data sources, requires less data processing humans, and can often produce more accurate than traditional machine learning approaches. In fact, they do better job than even the human beings, and even the traditional machine learning. In deep learning, interlayers of software called neurons form a neural network. It can have even 10 intermediate, input, output. In between, there can be many. And each layer will determine, will identify one particular case. And you put them all together, you get the whole thing. The complete story is known. Okay? So, once it learns what an object looks like, it can recognize the object in a new image. That is what the whole thing is. Something like, there are two types, but I understand today convolutional neural net is what is used quite often now, and the results are very good. The results are very good, and our experience shows it is excellent thing. Maybe that is what we can use that one. Something what I've shown, okay, is for the plantation, what I'm showing here. So you put something like layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, layer 5, put that. Each layer, you will look for a particular kind of a, pattern, and then it will catch. Then you put them all together. When you put them together, the complete, story about the plant you will get to know. What is the present health? What are the issues? What are the problems? You will be able to know. So this is what has been done. This is what done in 2021. This is what I am suggesting. IIIT Bangalore is Central Plantation Plant, Crop Research Institute, and that company, General, they work together. The complete disease pattern of palm plant, the plantation, they are able to do. It is right, our neighborhood. This has been done very successfully. I don't see any reason why you will not be able to do at all. The results are extremely good. The Central Plantation Crop Research Institute is very happy, and they are now going forward. Now, there is one technology called, phenomics. Phenomics is systematically you identify what are the diseases, how the disease is coming. Suppose, or what are the problems, stress. If there is a lack of moisture, what problem will come? How it will come? Is it coloring of the leaf? or a plant, or the root, or you do systematic study. In a laboratory you can do, or in a field you can do. Okay? You can do that. And there is a huge ICAR today, has a massive facility for phenomics. It's doing in Delhi at Pusa, and they do a systematic study about crops like a wheat and all that kind of thing. Okay? Or you can even do in an open field. But you see, you reduce the water and see what will happen to the crop. Each crop needs to be studied, but it can be done. So this is what it happened. So you field phenomics, what you can do, if you don't have all the lab facility and all, you take about 5 acres of land and you do that. You create that what you call stress condition, known stress conditions, and you find what all output. Okay? Each crop, suppose half a dozen crops are very required in Kadapa area. You take only those crops and let us work on that one. And it can be. And you can do UAV for URL imaging, ground-based sensor network. You know, so you can correlate the ground-based sensors, the UAE sensors, and the crop. All the three you can correlate. And all are not too expensive. There is a fairly reasonable cost. And for about 2 to 3 years, if you do that, you can do a thorough analysis. And you know exactly what needs to be done. Your algorithm can be trained well, and in 30 minutes of survey, you can get lakhs of images. Okay? A lot of data can come. Okay? That is what we'll do. So, you may be asking, we have been hearing of AI. I told you long back there was AI department there. But what happened today? A convergence of algorithmic advances, lot of convergence. And the data proliferation, tremendous increase in computing power. Maybe one day you should ask Balkrishnan to talk about that. Okay. And the storage. These three things together. Drones have become affordable. Okay. Algorithms, AI has become very, very data processing. Algorithms have become very, very powerful, available. Lot of data is available in the open literature and all that. You can also generate. When you put all these things, what looked to be a dream, it is now within our reach. Computing is very cheap now. Okay? When I started my career as a program director at Aeronautical Development Agency, we had twice the size of this room for putting our mainframe computer, and it was having the capacity power of 1/10 of my laptop what I have today. My ground floor of my whole building was for a computer. Today I think this fellow has more power than that computer. You can see that in a matter of 25 to 30 years. And algorithms, sensors. You can see MEMS sensors have become so cheap, madam. I remember for LCA, we bought one sensor which used to cost something like 5 to 10 lakhs. Today it costs 5 to 10 rupees. And the reliability levels are 10 times higher. Okay? And interestingly, most of the sensors are all developed in the country. They are available at Institute of Science. There is a center called SENSE, and there are many other places. All these are available. So you have good AI algorithms. You have a drone, which is cheap. Okay? And you have data. In agriculture, getting data is not so difficult as in other, like in aircraft. If I want to find out what is the reliability, where do I get data? If I go to Army, Air Force, they won't give me any data. Okay, they can't, because they will disclose how they are using that aircraft. So they won't give. But in agriculture, we have no such problem. So you have a combination, an aircraft technology, an AI technology, and when you put them together, you have. But what about policies? I find something interesting is happening in India as far as policies are concerned. Let me see. I just want to show this. Initially, if you see, from 2017 itself, the AI algorithms are found to give better than the human beings. And they are much better today. 5 saal ho gaya, 5 years more, much better. Okay? In fact, if a director can find out what is happening in the campus using AI rather than talking to faculty, you can easily do that. Okay? So, what is policy? Something good has happened in 2021. Initially, before 2021, there was no policy to support a drone industry in India. You just can't fly. You can't do anything. But 21, a transformation has occurred. That's what I want to say. Significant employment and economic growth, that is what. The government is promoting the Kisan drone for crop assessment, digitization of what you call land records, spraying the pesticides, promotes drone use in financing, support being extended to submission and agriculture mechanization, means to provide 10 lakhs to Agriculture Institute for purchase of drones. I think they should go to III also. I hope you will do. Custom hiring center set up, cooperative society of farmers, FPOs, subsidy purchase to make drone accessible. In other words, government is supporting you. You buy a drone, you do that, you put your thing and all. And we have come to a stage where what was a dream, what was so expensive, the so-called aviation, the drone made it affordable. And AI algorithms have developed to such a level with massive amount of what you call computing power. Today, you have a huge computing power. You don't have to install it in your own lab. You can buy the computing power. So a combination, the aviation with AI is the boon for agricultural, a transformation that can happen. I think this is the right time. A really, truly, what you call, remembering the memory of Rajasekhara Reddy, in my opinion, is we do this. Agricultural, triple IT should work some with the Agriculture Institute, work together, develop this one, not expensive, we can use that. And I think that is a true, what you call, tribute to the man who created triple IT. Okay? So thank you very much. Thank you.
Please come. Thank you, sir, for a wonderful presentation of a subject that is of extreme contemporary importance to India. Dr. Rajasekhara Reddy all along focused initially on agriculture. His focus was on agriculture to begin with. I think I need to, because Professor Kota Garu has rightly said that RGUKT should take clue from his presentation and start working towards this goal of using technology to improve agricultural productivity. And one day he was telling us, particularly to Professor Raj Reddy and me, I think Professor Raj Reddy is listening to all of us. He is on the line, hopefully. And he said that the agriculture, I need not tell to some of my colleagues, but then to my young friends, I think we need to recapitulate. In the early days, agriculture was a big contributor to national income, was also employing a large proportion of population. But over the years, the rate at which the contribution of agriculture has declined, it has come down to 15 to 16%. But then the dependence on agriculture did not come in the same fashion. Consequently, too many people are now eking out a living with too few resources, cause for rural inequality. That's where I think Dr. YSR was telling us, we need to do something to the rural people in order to provide them an alternative source of living. And one was the RGUKT model. I think the current government, both the federal government and state governments, they're focusing on agriculture. Prime Minister Modi has been repeatedly saying that we need to double the income of the farmers. How do you do that? I think he was talking about 100 acres, 250 acres. I think a large proportion of
farmers, the small and medium farmers, they cultivate, I think Ajay Garu will bail me out, they cultivate 2 acres, an acre, half acre. That's how they are living. And then over the years, agriculture has become unviable. Number 1, increase in the input costs. Number 2, at the same pace, the output is not giving them. There was uncertainty, and coupled with uncertainty, that I think technology is one other area where probably we can think of information database providing the farmers direct access to the market. Direct access to the market. That's another area where farmers are unable to get what we call remunerative prices. It's an area, fascinating area, always an area which will be very close to our heart. All of us, I think most of us come from the rural background, and we all know how we toiled, how still our colleagues and friends are toiling in the rural areas. I think it's a wonderful lecture, and I am extremely grateful to you, not only for coming down and delivering the lecture, but more importantly, on talking on an area which was very close to the heart of Dr. YSR and which is of contemporary importance. I now request all my colleagues, the Governing Council members, including Professor Balakrishnan, to join me in felicitating Dr. Kota and also our other guest, Sri Ajay Kallam. Please, take the trouble, only half a minute. I know Professor Balakrishnan is very reluctant to do these things, but I am also reluctant, but sometimes we need to do. Please. Request Professor Sanjay Rani to propose a vote of thanks.
Good morning to all the dignitaries, faculty and students. It is my honor to say a vote of thanks on the occasion of second YSR Memorial Lecture Series. My heartfelt thanks to today's speaker, eminent scientist, Sri Kota Harinarayana garu, for enlightened and thought-provoking lecture on aviation, agriculture, artificial intelligence, very relevant to the present research area, precision agriculture. Sir, I am very confident with your inspirational speech. Many faculty, RGUKT faculty and students will definitely come forward to take up innovative research projects in the area of artificial intelligence applications in agriculture sector to fulfill the requirements of present societal needs. RGUKT is expressing our deep gratitude to Sri Ajay Kalam Garu, Principal Advisor to Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, for presiding today's function in spite of Sir's busy schedule. Sir, we are all inspired with your valuable presidential address, sir. Thank you, sir, for your continuous support and encouragement to RGUKT. My sincere thanks to Professor Balakrishnan Garu, Governing Council member, for gracing the occasion. Sir, we always feel you are a member of RGUKT family, and we are thankful for your valuable suggestion as a Governing Council member, which are really helpful for the growth and development of RGUKT. I am very thankful to our Honorable Chancellor, Sir, Professor K.C. Reddy Garu, and Vice Chancellor, Professor Hemchandra Reddy Garu, for the opportunity given to RK Valley for organizing this prestigious YSR Memorial Lecture Series. My sincere thanks to all the directors of RGUKT constituent campuses, RGUKT advisors and administrators, faculty, teaching and non-teaching, and students of RK Valley for the support extended to make this function a grand success. Thanks to print and electronic media for attending this function. Once again, thank you one and all for sparing your valuable time and attending this function. Thank you.
Half a second. Mr. Raj Reddy has sent a message after listening to Dr. Kota's lecture. I hope that AP government will make this a mission mode technology and that every village will have access to such technology as soon as possible. An outstanding lecture by Dr. Kota. Best regards, Raj Reddy. Also several other messages which I don't want. On the half a dozen messages. You have a chairman who is in agricultural science.